Hey, hi, and hello, Mad Ink Pyro here. Uh, well, I guess this is the first installment on my weird world. I'm gonna start out with some milder stuff just to see how it's taken. This is a very small collection of things that I have, and it's kind of normal stuff. So, well, one thing's really not normal, but just to show you the kind of weird, macabre stuff that I collect and I have, and stuff that I'm looking for constantly. So if you guys are ever in these little shops or roadside attractions or whatever, and you find something that would go weird, buy it, send it. I'll buy it. Send it and I'll do a review of it. Send it and I will put it in my collection with your name on it. I want this weird stuff. I want this macabre stuff. Sideshow gaffs, sideshow banners and flags, bones of all types, little preserved bugs and bats and snakes and stuff like that. Anything medical, anything odd. So I'm trying to start up a kind of a gallery, I guess, or just for myself. Wow, nice hairdo. Well. All right, so the first thing I'm going to start off with is the smallest thing I have today, and it's tiny. Now, before I go into any of this, anything I have, anything that involves bones, have all died or were produced for this point, for preservation. A lot of people get uppity about some of the stuff that I have because they're like, oh my God, where'd you get that? I assure you, they were either found naturally or they were purchased from somebody who either this is what they do, like taxidermy and stuff like that, or they found it and I preserved it in resin or something myself. So that being said, we'll go ahead and we'll start. This little guy is a turtle. And if you want to see how tiny it is, that's my finger. This is a turtle skull that we found actually up here on the eastern shore. You can see it's got a little damage right here. We found this little guy on the eastern shore. Oddly enough, in my backyard. Saw it and I was like, oh, that's a turtle skull. Cleaned it up. Made it look all pretty and not dirty and nasty. And there he is. That's Raphael. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle reference there, guys. Now, we're going to go on to the next one. This next one, I'm not real sure how he got here. Again, this was found. It wasn't purposefully buried, dug up, and all that stuff. This was found. This is one of the ones that I think's really neat because, well, I'm just going to get into it. This is a cat skull. Now, this is a domestic cat. Oh, two fell out. This is a domestic cat of some sort. We're not sure what. This little guy came from in the woods, oddly enough. And his one little tooth doesn't want to stay in there. I'm going to have to glue it back in place. But you can see it's got both of its teeth. Now, it's a really cool cat skull. I mean, when Zane brought it to me, he was like, hey, Dad, check this out. And again, it was dirty, it's weathered, it's nasty looking. So we cleaned it up, and now it has a permanent home here. I am a cat lover, as you guys know. I have 3 of them. It used to be 4, but one of them passed away. So I have 3 cats in the house. And, I wouldn't do anything to hurt them. So, just so you know, these are all found objects. Speaking of animals, you guys know that I have 3 cockatiels. Well, we now have 3 cockatiel eggs as well. So we will be having baby cockatiels here before too awful long. Now, the next one, Zane actually got for me for Christmas. They found this on a beach up here while they were out crabbing. Now, this one's kind of cool.
I dug up for you, Dad.
This is a fox skull. There are, up here on the eastern shore, there are a lot of fox. A lot of fox. And when he gave that to me, he cleaned it up and brushed it off and found it. They actually found it sun bleaching on a beach while they were out crabbing on the Chesapeake Bay. And it was on kind of like this little island. So I'm guessing it died of natural causes right there on the beach. But this turned out really, really nice. It's very beautiful. I've got some things that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna articulate my skull collection. I also have a bat skull somewhere that I'm not real sure where it's at. But I want to put them all together, like kind of in an articulate, glass dome display, just because I think it'll be neat looking. But yeah, that's three of my skull collection as of right now. I've got a steer skull. I've got a deer skull. I've got a cow. Well, it's a cow skull and a deer skull. I have a squirrel somewhere. I have a bear somewhere. I've got several skulls. I've been collecting skulls for years. Now we're going to get into something a little more macabre, a little more taxidermy-ish. And this is my preserved bat, Bruce. Yes, it is a very real bat. It was preserved in a block of resin. And, yeah, that's just Bruce. I mean, he's a little, it's actually a vampire bat is what it is. But, I mean, yeah, you think vampire bats, you think movies, big bats. No, vampire bats are itty bitty little things. And I got him, I purchased him actually from an oddity shop. And Bruce has been with me now for, I think, 2 years. And yes, I named him Bruce on purpose. It's Bruce Wayne. Now this one is where it starts to get a little. This was. I should say is. This looks like a piece of harmless resin. I assure you, it is not. In this piece of harmless resin, and I'm gonna flip it over. Are. See that? Those are human gallstones. You ever wanted to know what a gallstone looked like? There you go. These were given to me actually by a friend of mine who knows that I collect weird, macabre stuff. These were his mother's. He comes into my house and he's like, "Hey, you like weird stuff? I would give you the first option." I was like, "Okay, what?" And he goes, "You want my mother's gallstones?" Sure, why not? I've learned to accept things and not question it until after the fact, then let them pass me by, because who else do you know has a resin paperweight full of human gallstones? Probably not too many people. But this was a cool little find. This is the medical kind of stuff that I look for: amputated arms, legs, fingers, mummified remains, stuff like that. But that gets you started on. By the way, these were taken out on 8/15 of 20. Okay, so these aren't old. Or no, 8/15. They were taken out in 2015, so they're not real old. But it's, how many people do you know have them? Not many, I'm betting. So, that's the kind of stuff I collect, and this is the very, very tip of the iceberg. I'm looking for specifically stuff that has to deal with folklore, like early 1800s vampire killing kits, werewolf killing kits, or hunting kits, whichever one you want to say. I'm looking for older medical. They call it quack medical or medicine, like the machines and weird stuff from old medicine, amputation kits, military amputation kits, medical oddities, just medical anything. I'm looking for funeral home stuff too. So if you may have, someone who was in it or something along that lines, like I don't know, embalming tools and bone saws and stuff like that. I'm always looking for that kind of stuff. Yes, I know stores where I can go purchase it. And I do. I do randomly whenever I've got extra money. I'll go to these shops and I'll buy something. But that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. So if you guys happen to run across anything like that, let me know. I'll either get a hold of the store myself and have them ship it, or you guys can grab it and ship it to me, or however, it doesn't matter. Just if you do find stuff like that, just let me know ahead of time, and we'll make it happen. I'm not really looking for taxidermy so much. Maybe some small things. I'd love to get a taxidermy chipmunk and a squirrel. I think both of those would be fun. Maybe a raccoon. I don't want anything big right now because I really don't have the storage space for it. But small little mammals and stuff like that are pretty cool. I've got some insects that have been preserved in resin, like really weird stuff like giant praying mantises and the Vietnamese centipede. And you guys will see that stuff later. Obscure autographs from weird people like serial killers, mass murderers, stuff like that. I do have a Charles Manson. I'm looking for a Gacy. If there's anybody out there that may have something that relates to John Wayne Gacy, or Jeffrey Dahmer, or Richard Ramirez, or any of the big name serial killers or anything like that, if they're willing to part with it, I would definitely give you guys credits for it when to put it in my collection, donated by or whatever. Just let me know. I'm definitely in the market for that. Yes, I know some places I can go and buy that kind of stuff. Some of it is affordable and some of it is really, really, really expensive. You wouldn't think, but there's other weird people out there like me that collect that kind of stuff. And like a pair of Ted Bundy's glasses went for like $3 million. Okay, I'm not into collecting something like that unless it's donated to me. I can't afford a $3 million pair of serial killer glasses. But, $50 for a drawing or a painting or something like that, I can do. A lot of John Wayne Gacy's paintings go for outrageous prices. And people ask me why. So this is kind of why I'm doing this. Why do I collect this kind of stuff? Well, several reasons. One, the bones and stuff like that, they just look neat. They do. I've always been curious about the anatomy and stuff like that. So that's kind of my own side thing with it. They look cool too. Serial killers and stuff like that. It's history. It's dark history, but it is still history. If we don't preserve and teach about history, then when it happens again, we're never going to know what to do. So, stuff like, and it belongs in a museum and it belongs in people's hands where they're going to show it off and they're going to let people know what it is, why they have it, and what significance it had and all that. If it goes into some guy's collection and just sits on a shelf for decades, it's not doing any good, number one. And number two, they're kind of, I don't know, that's idolizing. I don't idolize these people. I find them fascinating. I want to know what made their brain tick and break eventually. But I'm just more about the history behind it. Again, dark history, yes. Is it something we want to relive? No, but it's something we should never forget. And if nothing else, for the victims of the crimes, we should never forget. So if you guys happen to find stuff like that, or happen to see something that I may be interested in, write down somebody's number. If it's cheap, buy it. Buy it and send it my way if you want to donate it. If not, well, I'm sure we can work out a price. Just let me know how much it's going to cost and where, how I'm going to get whatever item. Make sure if we're trying to sell it, if I'm trying to buy it from you, make sure it's authentic. I did get ripped off a good shot. Well, I wouldn't say ripped off. It was what it was. It just wasn't as enveloped as they had said it was. I had bought an article of clothing from someone that was very famous, and I did something, and it was their clothing, but it was supposedly worn on a day that it wasn't worn on, and that kind of killed the significance of it for me. But at the same time, it was authentic. It just wasn't, the whole story wasn't true, and I want to make sure. So, guys, that's what I've got for you. So get healthy, get happy, find me macabre stuff, and I'll talk to you guys later.